So, like, the discovery that Jolly West was a psychiatrist, this was Tom and Neil's research. For both Charles Manson and Jack Ruby, this name was Jolly West. He was a psychiatrist who documents show was corresponding with Sidney Gottlieb, the director of the MK Ultra experiments. Sidney Gottlieb and Jolly West were psychiatric handlers, not only of the MK Ultra, but of both Charlie Manson when he was in Haight-Ashbury and Jack Ruby in Dallas. I wondered why there wasn't immediately a rush to understand what was going on with Oswald. So I'm getting to the point I'm going to get back to, because the tie into the Kennedy assassination leads to what we're seeing is a partnership between Trump and Putin in the so-called New World Order that George Bush and Ronald Reagan touted. The attacks on civil norms in the West by Manson and Jack Ruby established a new idea of what was normal in the United States. In fact, the nickname Jolly West is almost like a slap in the face. This aren't they so jolly after winning World War II, because it was an Axis revenge. Now, Oswald, I've long suspected, is a symbol of not only Oswald Mosley, but Oz, the Wizard of Oz, being Emerald City, being Washington, D.C., but Oswald, meaning the leadership, the open city becomes a closed city. It becomes a walled city. And this is a symbol of the New World Order. We see that they are using landscaping as part of their hybrid system in Tacoma. The 1122 Highland building is a good example of that. I think what we're seeing is an agreement. See, Oswald's proximity to the CIA underworld around the Carousel Club has long been considered exoneration of Russia, but I don't think it should be. I think what we're seeing is Russia and the Axis within America, the enemy within, cahooting, sharing intelligence and operations in the attempt to establish the New World Order. So what we're seeing is actually Oswald was in Russia for a very interesting reason, which is similar to the Hitler-Stalin pact, a 50-50 deal between the Trumpy-Tune and the Putinese. So when we look at what happened in Pittsburgh, we see there's very specific identity in the VW Beetle, which was created by Adolf Hitler. The Beetles in the VW were created by Adolf Hitler. And although the adults who intoxicated me when I participated in a joyride in this VW in a terrible state of trauma and stupor were never subjected to arrest, I was forced to walk a VW home by partners of Van Sickle and Shepard, and walk from that, and they help him push it about a mile. And as to show you the karma game that Edgar Snyder and his chums in Pennsylvania were playing. And it also conked out by a White House-looking place on Fifth Avenue by McGuire of NASA, who was at NASA when the Challenger went up. If you go over to Carnegie Mellon, his sister called me so weird. If you go over to Carnegie Mellon, you see that the people who razor nicked the Challenger have put up something worthy of Jim Jones in Guyana, children walking up into the sky, grandmothers being courtesied away by COVID. And this abomination comes from the federal establishment around George Bush and Donald Trump. And I would assume that there are people on the outside looking in when it comes to Congress saying, what the hell is these MFers think they are going to pull over on all of us? So when you look at the situation in Pittsburgh, you have to understand this very specific agency that Paul McCartney is calling down in an administrative plan system. It's a hybrid landscaping operation. The stone beetle, ho, 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 the love bug. And it's also important to look at the script to understand what is going on with the transgender movement, because not only did they involve biological warfare, but they had a chemical warfare system. Kyra is named in the letters. She was the daughter of George Romero, of all things, Night of the Living Dead. Kyra changes from a man to a woman and doesn't want to take pills that cause measles. You see, they were using a chemical that rendered a person gender confused. And they were spreading it on the West Coast through the MK Ultra program as an attack on masculinity. Now, I have seen testimony of gender-trapped people who seek surgery to change to, for example, there was an arguably very persuasive film of a girl who was trapped in a boy's body, and even her parents consented to the gender change, and it looked rational. But you have to look at these people as possibly being subject to MK Ultra Axis revenge attack. So when you look at the way that Pittsburgh sent in troops to control and make absolutely certain of child sex so they could blackmail a symbol of Walter Cronkite's American homespun sensibility. You need to remember that what they want to replace this so hated sensibility, they so hate the Cronkite sensibility. What they want to replace it with is their favorites, Manson and Jack Ruby. And the Trumpington Putin behind that system of covert operations that we now call hybrid New World Order.